Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. Now, this is a project I've wanted to do for years, making a little camping folding stool, and I've got this bit of ash I'm going to use to do it. So first I need to get it ripped down into two bits. Now I can use the cross-cut sled to get it cut to length, so I'm basically just going to trim off the ends and get it cut in half, as this piece is only just big enough for what I need. So the other bits of wood I need for this are some dowels. I also got these in ash, and I can use the crosscut sled to cut these to the sizes I need as well. These dowels need to fit into the other bits of wood, so I mark out where the holes need to go. One at the top and one on the centre of each of the pieces. So with them marked out, I can then get the holes drilled using a Forstner bit and the drill press. So this is some 25mm dowel, and I had a 25mm Forstner bit that I drilled these holes with, but there is no way that's going to fit in there. But that's not a problem. I'm going to use the bobbin sander to open it up because I was always going to do that on some of the holes. So these two legs are going to have the dowels through both these central holes, and the dowel's going to be locked in place on the outside one. But this one needs to spin. So I was always going to open this one up, but it looks like I'm going to have to do it on all the holes. So let's get sanding. So I can widen 3 sets of the holes so that the dowels fit perfectly. And then on another set, I widen them so it's a looser fit. You'll see how this is all going to work in a bit. Now, these bits are looking a bit square and chunky at the moment, so I just want to round over the ends. And as they're going to be feet, that'll also stop them splitting later on. So I just use the disc sander for this. This does a pretty quick job, eating away the wood and producing quite a nice curve. Now I still have the sharp edges, so to sort those out, I'm going to set up the router table and use a round over bit. With all the edges softened, I can then just use the random orbital sander to give them a clean up. My plan is to glue these dowels in place, but to help lock them in position, I'm just going to mark out the centre of each one and cut a slot on the bandsaw, and this will allow me to put a wedge in later. I get the slot cut in the opposite direction to which the grain is going. Otherwise, when the wedge is bashed in, it might split it along the grain. I'm going to cut the wedges out of oak so they're just a nice contrasting colour. So I set the fence to the width of the dowels, and then I can get a piece ripped down to that size. I have to make a few passes from each side, and I didn't do a very good job of this, but it would be good enough for the wedges. Now to cut them, I'm just going to use my mitre gauge, and I've put an auxiliary fence on it, and I'm just going to tilt it over to 2 degrees. And then I can start cutting the wedges, flipping the board over each time. Now I can start actually getting this assembled. So I get some glue applied to the holes. Then I can get it spread out and the dowels put into place. Both of the pieces get a dowel put into the top holes, because that one's going to be locked into place and it's what the seat is going to fix onto. Now for the centre hole, I want it locked onto the outside ones, but the inside ones are the looser joint and needs to move freely. So glue goes on the outside, the dowel goes down into place and tapped into the bottom hole. So that's it basically put together, and it all seems to work okay. Now to get those joints wedged, so I just get some PVA wood glue, apply to the wedges, put in place and then tap down, and then I can leave them to dry.
when the glue's gone off, I can then use a Japanese saw just to trim those wedges flush. I now just give it one more final sand down, and I think it looks nice with those contrasting wedges in the dowels. To finish, I give it 3 coats of tung oil. The manufacturer's instructions say the first 2 coats are thinned down, and then a final coat just the normal thickness. So you might think it's looking pretty uncomfortable at the moment, and you're right, it does need a seat. So I've got some leather, I work out how wide I need it to be, and I can get that cut down with a Stanley knife. I get the leather put on the stool and it folds over each of those dowels. So I get that done and work out how long I want it to be, then I can get it cut down. I then mark out where it's going to fold over and I need to punch some holes so I can get some rivets on. So I get the positions of that marked out and then I can use a rotary punch to get the first set of holes punched. I think I just said punch a lot of times, but I still think there's going to be a few more times to come. So now I can mark out the second set of holes and I'm going to punch them out using a different type of punch as the rotary one won't reach. Finally, I think that's all the holes punched, so now I need to set the rivets. And I'm going to use my bit of railway track as an anvil, that I can get a copper rivet in, the washer put on, and use a setting tool to bash it down. Then I can use some side cutters to cut any excess off. The setting tool then has a second bit, and that's for doming over these rivets. So that goes over, gets bashed with a mallet, and that just peens over the rivet to lock it in place. And that's it all done. Now I just need us to be allowed to go camping, but the garden will have to do for now.
So, that's it all done. It works pretty well. Now, I was trying to use up just the materials I had. I had to buy the dowels, but I had the main bits of ash and the leather and rivets. Now, this bit of ash was 800mm long, so time I've chopped it in half and cleaned up the ends, these legs are under 400mm each. So I think if I was to do it again, I'd probably make them maybe 10 centimetres, 100mm longer, but it works pretty well, and obviously it's nice and compact for taking camping. So, that's it all done. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.